welcome to another edition of Alive and Kickin' on Location. I am Leesa Marie Benz, your hostess with the mostest, and I'm so excited to be here today at Gypsy Cab Corner Bar here in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. And I am with my favorite vertically challenged comedian in the whole wide world, Roy Haber. Thank you for driving down from Kentucky.
Thanks
Good
for
to
having
see
us.
you again.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
All right, so I met Roy a couple of years ago. You were performing with Tom Green.
Yep.
And that was a great show, and we did selfies and everything. And of course, when I found out Roy was going to be in town, I had to get him on my show. But now let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Because you're obviously a hot mess, hot little mess. Show him your feet, show him your little legs.
9.5 sneakers, by the way.
He is the shortest comedian I've ever met. But you were born in Israel, correct?
Yep.
Raised in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
So that is just full of jokes right there. Is that
Sure.
what made you funny? Because you were kind of getting...
Well, I mean, I didn't necessarily start out with that, but as I started thinking about, my upbringing, it led to that. But sure, there's definitely some jokes about that. I mean, my parents moved from Israel to Boston, short stint there, and then Kentucky. So, but it was a culture shock, as I'm sure you could imagine.
Yes.
But I think that's the first time I realized my parents were going to mess with my head.
Yeah.
For many, many years.
How long did you live in Israel?
About 3 years.
Okay, so you probably barely
very
remember
few
it.
memories, but.
And then being in Kentucky and all, there's just so much. There's so many jokes even in that. In fact, Kentucky, Roy didn't even know this till I just told him. They just voted a mayor in Rabbit Hash, Kentucky, which is 78 miles north of Lexington.
I still don't believe that. I'm gonna have to look. No, I believe you, but I'm gonna.
Where else could that happen at but Kentucky, right? Okay, so now you were also in school. You had a teacher, and she used to tell you to stop clowning around a lot, right?
Yeah, I used a quote. Here's what happened. There's a quote on my bio directly from her.
I read it.
And
it's a paragraph.
It's a paragraph. So if you go to royscomedy.com, you can read that. But basically, 2 years ago, I was visiting my mother, and she pulled out an old report card, and that was word for word what the teacher wrote about me. Like something along the lines of, "There's a time and a place to be a clown. School is not one of those times." It's the first and only time I think I've ever high-fived my mom. I read it out loud, and I was like, "Boom, high five!" Like I can't be. And amazing.
Is that how you knew that you were on to maybe going to be a comedian at that? Because sometimes they say that usually around 5 or 6, you kind of have a passion for something.
I've always been into entertainment. I actually was very heavy into music. I played drums before I got into comedy. I thought that would get me laid with the chicks, but it's kind of hard to get noticed by the ladies when no one can see your ass behind the drum set. So.
And then when they do,
yeah.
They're taller than your ass.
Right. That's okay. My Uncle Jim always said that with the tall chicks, I get to make 2 trips. So.
Okay, so now let's talk about your roots and what you talk about. You're obviously you make fun of yourself.
Sure, I get that right out of the way. Like I usually like to get that out of the way because that's the first thing people notice about me.
Yeah, because they're looking up on stage and then you come out and they're like, huh? Right. Because probably the person before you was tall.
Right. And my favorite thing is when people are like, oh, you look taller on stage. Okay, all right, whatever. Of course.
That is a good one. Okay, now I'm curious. Where do you get your clothes?
Where do I get my clothes?
Little boys shops?
No, I'm a Hot Topic guy, but not strictly Hot Topic. Really, I just kind of look for deals because I'm on the road a lot, so I just kind of go out and see what's out there. And I like hoodies. I like the sleeveless hoodies, and if they're not sleeveless, I get it and take the sleeves off. So.
Well, I remember years ago, I'm probably aging myself by mentioning this, but in the kids section, they used to have gar animals. You could match them. They were the 2 that you matched. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay.
No.
And obviously, this is like, well, it does kind of match, but anyway.
I like to dress comfortable.
So now, and you also talk about personal issues and world events, which, by the way, is very touchy right now. So we're not really going to talk about much of that. But in your personal life, are you married with kids, or what's the story?
No, I was engaged twice, but that's been over a decade ago. I feel like I kind of gave, not to get all serious on you, but I kind of gave it up because being on the road so much, it's difficult to be. I always say codependency is a dream killer, and women that I've dated say, "Oh, I'm okay with you being gone for 3 months at a time," but once you get on the road, like when I met you, I was dating a girl. "Oh, I'm fine with you being gone," but it's just nag. I'm like, you know me. You know I'm not going to cheat on you. Why are you,
Yeah, well, maybe
trust me. But it just becomes such a, can I cuss?
Yeah.
Mind fuck. It's like, what do I have to do to I'm calling you, I'm checking in, I'm letting you know I'm not going to hang out with another woman one-on-one. I might be hanging out with a group. That's what we do. We socialize, we network. So it's been tough in that department. So, it's just, I don't want kids. I'm 42 years old, believe it or not. So that ship has kind of sailed. That's great.
He's only 42. It's like you're throwing in the towel.
Well, no, I'm not. I mean, I keep my eyes open, but it's just I don't waste time. When I see that it's not working, I don't mess around, man. I'm like, this isn't working. Like, I'm not going to wait. So many of my friends will get into a relationship. They'll be in a 5-year relationship, and maybe the first year and a half was good. But then the last, 3.5 years of it is all hell. I'm like, why do you stay in that relationship? I mean, you're nuts. You're crazy to do that.
I found the first 5 years are good, and then from there, anyway, that's a whole other story. Okay, so now the only thing I want to talk a little bit about, but not much, and it's only because you're a comedian, she's a comedian, and it is a world event type of thing, because I'll never be able to see her again. Kathy Griffin. What do you think about the Kathy Griffin thing?
I didn't follow it real closely. I kind of know, like, that she held that head up, that headless, what was it, Donald Trump's head or whatever. Everybody made a big deal out of it. But this is America, man. This is one of the last few stages of free speech in this country, is the comedy stage. So, more than anything, I'm just disappointed that she apologized for it. Like, own it. If you said it, don't fucking apologize.
Well, the thing that I actually posted on Facebook because I was able to go see her a year ago. And I was kind of making a joke out of it that I was glad I was able to because it's never going to happen again. And then I got all these comments that why would you ever want to see her back then? Because even back then she was, criticizing presidents. And, I don't pay attention to it. I know enough about politics to be dangerous. I am just happy to live in America. That's all. Anyway.
I'm pretty sure none of her fans are Donald Trump fans, and nobody that voted for Donald Trump is a fan of hers. So, like,
now, are you talking at all tonight about any politics?
Oh, I always touch on it. Yeah.
You just get them fired up.
Well, no, I mean
and then you leave.
I'm a registered independent. I voted Libertarian the last 2 elections, so I come at it from a way that. I think this line describes it perfectly. I think Democrats and Republicans are just two opposite ends of the same indifferent dildo. We're getting screwed either way, and it's been a long time since either side used any lubricant before they did it. So, and I feel like most people kind of feel that way. In this last election, there was so much hate and vitriol.
I know, it's still going on.
They didn't vote for someone; they voted against someone, and I feel like most people feel that way. And actually, the political stuff's been going good because I feel like most people feel that way. They felt like they had to make a choice, and I understand that. I had someone in Cocoa Beach last week yell out, right as I got into the politics, someone yelled out, "You're in the wrong county for that, bro." And I was like, I'm in America, motherfucker. And the whole crowd started clapping, so I was like, okay, this is good. Everybody's on board. If you're an adult, have a sense of humor. It's a comedy club, man.
Right.
Be open to different points of view. It doesn't mean you have to agree with me, but I like it when people can listen to me and go, I don't agree with him, but I see where he's coming from. So.
And if anything, right now, more people need to be in a comedy club, don't they? Because we need to laugh about this stuff. Okay, so now I wanted to ask you, and you kind of just touched on it, how do you deal with these hecklers?
I find the best way to deal with a heckler is to get the crowd on your side, really. And all that
kind of point out.
Well, no, a lot of times these hecklers, before I actually lay into them, and I try not to do that, but usually the crowd's looking at them and looking at me and looking at them and looking at me going, are you going to say anything about this? So I find that all you really have to do is go, is anyone else here bothered or annoyed by what's going on here? And then that people start clapping, and then, and that usually shuts them down. Like, people are, that heckler goes, oh my God, the whole room's against me now, So that usually shuts them down.
Well, I was thinking too, you could just easily go, security, table 5 over there. Out. That'll usually. I saw a comedian handle it completely different recently that drew more attention to them, which I thought is what they usually want as a heckler, is they really need attention. But I wanted to ask you, what exactly is shock value in comedy shows?
It's saying something you don't really mean just to get a reaction. It's trolling, I think, is what they call it now. Like if I were around a bunch of, if I was hanging out with friends of mine, and then we met another group of people, and I started telling them, like, I'm a huge Donald Trump supporter, you know. My friends know that that's not true.
Oh.
And I'm not a Clinton supporter either, but I'm just doing it to, like, get them to start talking about it. And just saying something, just something you don't really mean, you know. Like, I don't want to get into, like, perverted jokes or anything, but, you know, just the original shock jock was Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? Like, he would just say stuff, and he perfected that art, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I see a place for all kinds of comedy, so I'm not judging that, you know. But it's just not what I want to do. I want to be. I like the art of the joke. I like telling. My style is, you know, the art of jokes, storytelling, almost character sketch-driven stuff. Some of my stuff could be acted out in a sketch, even. I've done that a few times. Online, royscomedy.com. You can go check that out.
I love that. So now you write your own stuff?
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, because some people have writers.
Yeah, no, I have other comic friends that I'm close with, and we bounce ideas off each other. You know, sometimes I'll be like, hey, what do you think of this? You know, like, oh, okay, yeah, hey, and they'll throw me an extra line. I'll be like, oh, that's good. Yeah, can I keep that? Yeah, of course you can keep that. You're running your ideas by me, and whatever I give you is yours, and vice versa. You know, it's nice to have another set of ears, have a sparring partner, so to speak, when you're writing, you know.
And I know that you've performed with some big names like Jim Brewer, Tommy Davidson, Don Rickles, wow, Eliza Schlesinger, which I've also met, Tom Arnold, I met him too, Tim Wilson, and Tom Green. Now, out of all,
Kevin Nealon too. I don't know if you mentioned.
Kevin Nealon?
Did you meet Kevin? Yeah, Kevin
No,
Nealon.
I haven't met him, but I would like to.
Yeah, he's great.
And some of these people are off SNL. Now, is that where you eventually are hoping to go? You would be a good prop for SNL.
Well, I'm not an actor per se. I am starting like classes on how to audition, and I'm gonna start taking more improv. What was the question again? Sorry, I got a little space there. What was the question? SNL.
SNL, yeah.
I always said, like, I don't like the cold weather, so I always said that if the only way I'd ever move to New York is if Saturday Night Live paid me. So I'm more of an LA guy, I guess.
Okay, so now that he forgot the question, I know that, you know,
I just answered it.
Something else has been going on behind the scenes, which is what I was leading up to anyway, is, can you tell me over that voice?
Yeah, I know, we got somebody who obviously doesn't give a shit about making noise while we're taping.
What goes on behind the scenes? Now, we're going to get into the whole dressing room too,
okay.
But before you perform, is there anything you do, like 3 spins, maybe a little sniff of the white stuff, any wacky tobacco?
No. I don't.
Or jump up and down, like to give yourself energy?
Sometimes I listen to my iPod. I just listen to music that pumps me up. You know, I'm definitely like a hard rock, heavy metal kind of guy. But I like all kinds of music. So my iPod can go from Sade to Slipknot at the flick of a switch. But I like something that just gets me all kind of jacked up. Or I'll just get in my head and start thinking about my set, watch the other comedians and how the audience is reacting, and see like, okay, they didn't like that. Maybe I'll drop that joke, or hey, they like that. I've got more on that subject, so I'll hit it, you know. I like to, like Brad and I, my feature this week, Brad Ellis, we like to do a shot before the show. Just kind of like, you know, just like a cheers, like have a good show, you know. So,
and you do that?
But I don't like to get wasted before I go on stage.
Yeah,
you know?
who would?
And I wish that I could smoke weed and go on stage, and like some comic friends that I know, but I wouldn't be able to keep it together. I'm too scatterbrained as it is, man. So.
Okay, so tell us who smokes pot before the show. Come on now.
I'm not saying names. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus.
Okay, but now.
But a lot of comics do, and they don't miss a beat. I wish I could do that.
Well, it works for some people. It made me fall asleep, so therefore it's a good date rape drug for me.
What?
But now, tell me, I really want to know, and so does all my audience. We want to know who was the biggest diva you ever worked with. And that could be male or female.
No, actually, all the names that you named, everybody was very, very polite. Some people I got closer with than others. There are some comics who aren't necessarily famous, but they're working comics. And I'm not going to say their names, but I've been doing this a while, so I feel like I'm doing pretty good that I can count on one hand the people I don't like in this business. The people that, you know, if they said the wrong thing to me, I'd probably punch them in the nuts, man. I really would. Like,
Probably because that's the closest to you, since you.
you can ask anybody, man. I'm pretty easy to get along with. So, like, if you.
With being backstage and everything in the dressing room, now take us there. What is going on? Now, I have heard stories that there are cameras where you can see the audience. Is that true? So you can see like people that are, you can kind of prejudge your audience.
I think that's not everywhere. I'm sure that there are some places. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. I kind of, like when I worked with Eliza, everyone knows who she is, so she has to stay in the green room. I like the noise. So I like to go out and be like around it and see people walking in. I like that they don't know who I am. So that's kind of confining, I think. You know, if you're famous, like you can't go out there and like without people going, oh, that's Eliza, you know,
right,
running up to them.
Now, do you guys share tips and stuff? You comedians, do you guys share tips like, hey, like, you know, like let's say you're done, you know, the show's over, and you and Eliza, let's just say, by the way, Eliza, I still want to get you on my show, and I still have your CD, War Paint.
I can't help you with that. I only worked with her that once, and she was nice, but we didn't talk a whole lot. But
I mean, but do any comedians, like when you're done with the show, do you guys ever talk and say, hey, I really liked how you did this?
Sure, absolutely.
Or if I were you, I wouldn't do this. Do you guys share
absolutely
advice and tips and stuff?
Yeah, last night when Brad was on stage, I texted him something. I said, hey, you could add this line right here. I'm emailing you this now so I don't forget, because I will. And but yeah, we always trade off, like, hey, maybe say this there, man. Like, just add that there or cut that part out. And I think try that, you know.
So now, who was your favorite comedian of all time? Like when you were a little boy, there must have been someone that you saw that made you want to do this.
I've always liked George Carlin,
even
when I was young, you know, and as I get older, I like him more and more. God rest his soul.
Yes.
Even though he didn't believe in God.
Yeah,
but,
that whole segment was funny in itself.
Yeah, big Bill Hicks fan. Like I like those comics that kind of push the envelope a little bit, you know.
So now tell us a little bit, really quickly, about your experience in the San Francisco Comedy Competition. And by the way, are you ever going to try out for the Last Comic Standing?
Okay, well, San Francisco was a lot of fun. It was, it's a 4-week competition. They do 2 weeks of preliminaries. So, you know, they have, 16 comics and 16 comics, and they dwindle it down to 8 and 8. So I was in the second week of preliminaries, met a lot of really, really cool people. A few of them I've kept in touch with, and then went on to the semifinals. I was 1 point away from making it to the finals. I found out, yeah.
Wow.
But it was still a great experience. I met a lot of people. And the cool thing about the San Fran competition is they do it in all these different places. So from being on the road, I've seen all these situations before. Like I've been in a casino, I've been in a bar, I've been in a music venue, I've been in an auditorium, I've been in a playhouse, and that's what it was. And I think that helped me a lot. Having been in all of those, you know, scenarios helped me, you know, kind of be ready for it. It didn't rattle me when things didn't. I know to just keep going with the jokes. Sometimes if there's at a casino and you can hear the slot machines bing bing bing, bing in the background the whole time, I didn't let it faze me. I just boom 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 just delivered the material, you know. I saw a lot of good comics in the casino the night we played that casino. Eat shit, as they say. Like, they didn't have good sets. They got rattled, and I was like, I've been here before. I know you just keep going.
Just like I'm getting rattled by all those people in that bar, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that.
That's okay. I warned them. I told them, but that's okay. And now, just so people know, can they hire you for parties? Are you available?
Sure.
Or
I'm
what?
not necessarily a corporate comic, but if they think that I'm right for something, absolutely, they can. Everything they need to get a hold of me is at my website. Again, royscomedy.com. Check it out.
Well, yeah, and for
That's
the little
real easy to
people,
remember.
For the little people.
Oh, I don't know, man.
But you're taller than the little people, but still,
I know.
little people can unite. Right? All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Roy, for being here.
Thanks for
We're
having me,
so
Leesa.
excited to be here and see your show. And you were. When are you going to come to Florida again? Do you know?
This is the last stop this year. Next year, I'm in the first week of January, Thursday through Friday. The first Thursday and Friday, Saturday in January, I'm in Palm Harbor at Snappers Comedy Club. So that's over there in the Tampa area. So I'll be there.
Good.
And that'll
But
be my
like you
next-
said, everyone can look at your website.
royscomedy.com. Check it out. There's there's comedy clips, there's sketch comedy, and there's like just fun video stuff that I put together too. So.
And he's really fun if you come see him because he meets you after the show, and you can buy T-shirts. And
Yeah, I've got some T-shirts, and I'm recording a CD next week in Indianapolis.
CDs available too.
At Crackers.
So thank you for joining me for another edition of Alive and Kicking on Location. I really appreciate it. Become a subscriber, and by the way, check out my shoes. Hey, and remember, laughter is the best medicine, so laugh it up, right, Roy?
Yep.
Thank you.